Hi guys, so in today's video I'm going to be talking about the university application process and some tips and tricks for it, so let's get into it. So this video is going to be split into 3 different sections. I'm going to be talking about before the application, during the application and starting university, giving you a little bit of advice. So first of all, the most important thing is about what course you want to do, and I would suggest looking at different universities that are good for this course, and do they offer a year in industry or a year abroad if that is something that you're kind of interested in, because lots of universities do different things. And also within that, you want to look at the type of uni that you're going to. Do you want to go to a campus uni that's a bit more of a close-knit community, or do you want to go to a city uni which has better kind of nightlife and social life and that kind of thing? The next thing I would say, and I don't want this to come across as like mean or anything, I'm just being truthful, if you're not getting all A stars at A level or IB or whatever, I wouldn't say apply to a uni that expects you to get that at the end of your exams, because I feel like it's a bit of a waste of a choice. You should apply somewhere where you're like more guaranteed to get in, if that makes sense. So like I was getting sort of B's and C's, and I wouldn't apply to Oxford or Cambridge. I applied to places that were offering me slightly lower grades because I was more likely to get in. Also, make the most of the open days, because you get to see what the campus is like, what the surrounding area is like. You get to talk to lecturers and other people. You find out more about the actual uni, and it's just a great place to get information and answers to your questions. So definitely go to open days for unis that you're sort of interested in. And also think about how far away you want to be from home. Are you someone who likes to visit your family frequently? If so, don't move from Cornwall to Glasgow. Seems a bit silly. If you're someone who wants to be going home, because that's what, like a 7-8 hour journey, and that's just not realistic financially or just time wise. But if you're someone who wants to be independent and living further away from home, then I'd say go for it. Another thing I would say, and this is kind of what this video is, I'd say look at other people's experiences on YouTube, on TikTok. Now, before I suggest this, I do want to say don't take everything at face value, because everyone's experience at uni is different. However, it's good to see what actual students think. And also, please, for the love of God, look at a range of unis. Don't just apply to the first one you find for your course, because you miss out on some better places perhaps, and you might regret the uni that you're going to. And yeah, it's good to look at what everyone does, because there might be better nightlife if that's your thing. It might be the course is actually better, it might have better wellbeing services. So that was the whole section about choosing your university. Now on to the actual application process. So most places open now. Well, the applications opened a couple of weeks ago, so you want to start thinking about it now as soon as possible, because then you're less stressed about doing that when you've also got like your exams coming up and stuff. And also, the earlier you apply, the more likely you are to get an offer. I would say check deadlines. This is really important. Know when you need to get your application in. So for Oxbridge and most medical degrees, it's mid-October, which is coming up soon. And then for other courses, it's usually the end of January. And like I say, the earlier you apply, the more likely you are to get a place. So thinking about personal statements, it's slightly different now to when I was applying, but it's relatively the same. So instead of getting free reign, you have 3 focused questions to answer, but you would include this anyway. So you have a 4,000 word limit, and this is your opportunity to talk about why you want to do that course, the skills that you've gained throughout academics and that kind of thing, and also any other interesting extracurricular things you've done in preparation for starting the course. So my experience of personal statements, I found it really hard to write about myself, write like a good chunk, because I felt like I was being pretentious, and I don't like talking about myself, but I also didn't want to be too generic in what I was saying, and that's a really difficult balance. But I would say try and get up as close to that 4,000 word limit as you can, because you don't want to just write 1,000 words and it's not really got a lot of content to it, because they're just wanting to see how you apply yourself, and it's a good practice for job interviews and that kind of thing. Also, a piece of advice, which is what I did, if one of the A-level subjects that you're studying is similar to the degree that you want to do, I would ask your teachers for the course-specific stuff and help on how to write the personal statement for that, because they offer some really good insight. So I spoke to my psychology teacher, because I originally was applying for psychology, but I didn't get into that. And also speak to your form tutor or your head of sixth form or college. All of them, they're really good to help with the personal statement. Linking back to the deadlines and kind of thing, another thing with that is turn your email notifications on, because you will miss very important emails about your application and all that kind of thing. And also make sure to check them regularly, and also check your spam, because sometimes things do end up in spam. And then you also get a max of 5 choices when you apply, so I'd recommend using at least 2, because then you have a firm and an insurance choice. But I used all 5, which is also good to do. But if there's only a couple of unis you want to apply to, you don't have to use all of the choices, but it gives you more chance of getting into uni, so you can do that if you want. But I would say definitely at least apply to 2 places. So something really important is to not rush your application. Please take your time, not just on the personal statement, but also filling in all the additional information about you. If something's wrong and you have to change it, it may delay your application, and then you might lose out on a place. So do take your time. Also, get someone else to read through your personal statement. Check that it actually makes sense, because you can use Grammarly, but do remember it is an AI kind of thing and there's error. So it's good to have at least one human actually check it as well, and check that it actually flows nicely, because the people that are reading your application are humans, they're not computers, so it just makes sense to have a human read it. And also, if you need support for exams or like accommodation for like disability and that sort of thing, you need to put it on your application, and there is a section for you to declare it on the application. But you can only do this if you have actual written evidence of it, I think. So if you're getting tested for something or whatever, you can't put it on yet, but you can always do it at a later date once you have been diagnosed, or once you have written confirmation and evidence. So the last section of kind of this video is about the university experience at the start and kind of some advice. So if you want any more advice on the application process, I did post a video of my experience while I was doing it, if you want to watch that. But yeah, moving on from that, the transition from sixth form and college is to uni is really, really different. It could be hard, it could be easier, it depends kind of who you are, how you work, but the main thing is you're a lot more independent with your learning. It's less kind of guided, you're not really handheld through uni, which can be quite a shock. And you're expected to do a lot more work kind of outside of class to prepare for exams and essays and just the classes in general. But there are wellbeing teams at every uni who can help support you through getting used to being at uni or doing the workload. If you are not used to living independently, i.e. cooking and cleaning for yourself, it's going to be a real shock, because you don't have parents, guardians, etc. to do it for you. You have to do it yourself. So I would say in preparation, learn how to cook like a few basic meals that you can kind of change up a little bit and just easily make, because I don't advise living on pot noodles and beans on toast. It may be easy, but it's not nutritious. You'll probably get really ill from eating that. And you've got loads of time to learn. There's TikTok, YouTube videos if you don't have anyone to help you learn. But yeah, and also make sure you know how to clean, please, because I promise you the rest of your flatmates will really appreciate it if you don't leave dirty pans everywhere, mess, and you take the bins out once in a while. Otherwise you will probably fall out with your flat. Also, budgeting is really important because your student loan does run out. It's not an infinite resource. I wouldn't advise spending it on clothes, shoes, holidays, when you have to eat and that kind of thing. Prioritize your food and stuff over nights out, because yeah, it's nice to go out and have fun, but if you're then rationing your food for the rest of the month, is it really worth it? And also cooking simple meals that you can bulk buy stuff and freeze and everything, and it doesn't cost that much per portion, is a lot cheaper than getting takeaways, even though it doesn't seem like it at first. I'd say try and find group chats for your unis, whether on WhatsApp, Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, whatever, because one of my closest friends here, who I've known for 4 years basically, we're still friends, and I met her in one of those kind of group chats. So they can be annoying with people like promoting nights out and stuff, but you do find people, and then you can kind of have people to stick to during the year. And also during Freshers Week, which leads on from that, go to the Freshers Fair, go to taster events, join societies and sports. Even if you only go to the taster session for that society or sport and you never go again, or you only go to a few sessions and then you decide you don't want to, at least you've tried and you can still make friends from that. It just is a good way to meet people, keep yourself busy outside of doing uni work. And I joined 3 societies in first year. I only stuck to one for a little bit, but I did still meet really nice people. And then last year I joined my university's radio music team, and I'm still doing it this year. I also applied to Reading Society this year, and yeah, it's really helped me kind of motivate myself to get out of bed when I don't have uni. Grouped in with those last 2 points about kind of making friends and putting yourself out of your comfort zone, try and make an effort to get to know your flatmates. But if they're awful, at least you tried, and there's other ways to make friends, as I said, through societies, but also on nights out, on your course, through mutual friends. And actually, one of the girls that I lived with in first year, I live with now, and she's one of my best friends. So you never know, if you do try and reach out to your flatmates, you might make some of your best friends, or you might not, but it's worth trying. Okay, now this last thing is very specific to Royal Holloway, so if you're not going to Royal Holloway, this might not be helpful for you, but it's kind of helpful for campus unis that are in a smaller town rather than a city. Basically, everyone talks about how bad the nightlife is here, and I agree it's not as good as London or Leeds, Manchester, Liverpool, etc. But I think it's a bit of an exaggeration. For example, in Windsor they have clubs. They're not the best, but you know, they're still clubs. And there are some lovely pubs around here, and the clubs on campus aren't actually that bad. I feel like it's the people that you surround yourself with that make the night out better, rather than just the night out in general. And like I say, London has good clubs, so if you really want to trek to London and wait in Waterloo until the first train comes in the morning at like 5 a.m, you go for it. But I think uni is really what you make of it, and at the end of the day, there are other things to do than just clubbing. This uni isn't as bad as people say it is for the nightlife and social kind of stuff. I feel like that last clip was really rambly and long-winded way of saying that the nightlife isn't that bad. So don't listen to anyone who tells you that there is no nightlife here, because there is. They're just obviously surrounding themselves with the wrong people. But yeah, I hope this video was somewhat helpful, gave you some information that you didn't know, or you just find the application process a little bit less stressful now that it's kind of been broken down. If you have enjoyed today's video, make sure to like, comment any video suggestions and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.